My broadcasting career actually started in my sister's bedroom. I'll tell you how that happened. We used to live in Indianapolis, and I was a strange kid. I was an old soul. I was always serious. I was just that kind of kid. So my sister, when we were living in Indianapolis, she went off to school at University of Kentucky. And while there, I decided to take over her room. I turned her room into a studio. I was always fascinated by what they were doing on TV with this newscast. In this particular city, it was this station, WTHR, Channel 13. I loved the news music, and I would record the news music and the commercials, and I would play newscaster, sitting in front of a mirror. That's what I did as a preteen. I know I was a strange kid. That's what I did. So that was really the beginning. I also did weathercasts. I don't know how I did it, I don't know where I got the map from, but I put pieces of paper together, copy paper together, and I drew an outline of the state of Indiana, where I lived at the time, and I put Scotch tape over all the major cities, got information from the National Weather Service, the Weather Channel at that time, NOAA Weather Radio, and so I would get updates on the temperature, and I would do weathercasts. And see, the Scotch tape, you know why I put the Scotch tape on? So you could just erase and change the temperatures. That's what I did. It was, I don't know where I got these ideas from, but that's what I did. That was where I practiced. It was actually in my sister's bedroom. My first TV job, and this is one of the things that's valuable. If you hear nothing else from me tonight, please take advantage of internships and co-ops. Pursue them. Those are really what open doors. And this is one of the things you have to understand. Every bit of experience you get builds upon the experience. Experience builds upon experience. This is what employers are looking for. They don't want to know so much. It's not to dismiss your educational experience. That's great. It's great to have a degree. They want to know what you can do. You may have a wilderness time in your life. It may happen to you. But again, it's a time for you to exercise your ingenuity, to sharpen your skills, and keep pressing in, which is exactly what I did. I want to go into some lessons, some takeaways for me that I think are very important. Then I want to open it up for your questions or any comments that you have. Don't let money control you. If you're thinking right now, hey, I'm going to go pursue this career because it's going to provide me a lot of money, I'm going to tell you, there are people in positions making a whole lot of money, and they are absolutely, positively miserable. Terribly miserable. So find your passion and pour your life into that passion. That's very important, because if you do that now, it's less likely you're going to have one of those detours later on. So don't let money control you. Don't let it be the driving agenda in what you do. Truth of the matter is, long term, what's going to be most profitable for you is what you really thoroughly enjoy. Second thing, be teachable. Even when the messenger is unpleasant. I can tell you a story. It was funny. I was having this conversation with someone I used to work with at a radio station. One time I went out, I shot this was at the radio station here. I recorded this really good story, and I was so proud of it. I was so excited. This is going to run on the air. I shared it with the news director. She listened to it and had kind of a scowl on her face, and she said, "We can't run that because there's no subject-verb agreement." Seriously. I had botched the English language in this particular area. You know what? I was furious. I was so ticked off. This mean, you know how it works. How many of you, you've been offended by something? Somebody tells you, correct something? But you know what? Do you think I've ever screwed the subject-verb agreement up ever again? I didn't. I learned the lesson. And that's one of the things I want you to know. Sometimes people are going to share things with you that are going to be hard, and they're going to hurt your feelings. They're going to bruise your ego. Embrace those things. Don't run away from correction. Sometimes correction is the best expression of love that you can ever receive from somebody. So if it's somebody rude, obnoxious, I'll tell you, one of the best news directors I worked for in this market, will not mention names. I remember this is the first time he came and spoke to our class on campus. And this guy was about as raw and obnoxious as you could possibly be. And I remember looking at my classmates saying, it'll be a cold day in hell before I ever work at that television station. It was my second television station. I worked there. And you know what? This guy was one of the most helpful people. In fact, when the Charlotte opportunity opened up, even though I was under contract, he said, I'm not going to hold you back. He said, this is a great opportunity for you. He said, go, this is your opportunity. I mean, isn't it interesting? I would have thought this guy was a terrible person. No, don't be fooled by that. 3, be flexible and be willing to pay your dues. Remember what I said about that early opportunity, that radio station? Driving 90 minutes to do a Sunday show? Look what it's worked into now. And who knows where this is going to go from here. Even the most menial things, the assignments you're given, maybe you start off at a co-op or an internship, and to you it feels like the equivalent of mopping floors. Do it, and do it with all of your heart, because that opportunity is something you need to seize to advance where you need to go. Be willing to pay your dues. Relationships, I told you about how my classmate pitched my tape to a news director at the television station. Also told you about the person who referred me, the former member of Congress, who said, hey, you need to check out this Coakley guy. By the way, you want to guess who filled in for me yesterday? Who actually filled in for me today in Charlotte? My friend, the former congressman. So not only has he helped me, I've in turn, hey, I know this great guy who can fill in for me. See what relationships, what you can do with relationships, how valuable those are. Number 5, learning does not end with your degree. Please do not think, okay, I've got this piece of paper, I don't ever have to open up a book again. Don't have that mindset. Be a forever learner. Read, study, take opportunities to learn new skills. Keep yourself sharp, because that's going to give you the competitive edge over other people who are just sitting in class and they're just marking time. See, the people who stand out are the people who are pursuing all these opportunities. They're maximizing their time here. You know, there's no time it's never too early. No matter where you are in your educational career, it's never too early to take advantage of those opportunities like internships and other things. But learning does not end with your degree. Number 6, make ownership your goal. Make ownership. What do I mean by this? There's a time when people went and they worked for a certain company and they worked there for 30 years. How many of you see that happening today? It doesn't happen very much, does it? It's very rare. Most people work for different companies. Not only that, they work in different fields. I know in my experience, there are a lot of people who have career changes in their 40s and in their 50s. So here's the point that I'm making. Ask yourself the question now while you're in school. What do I ultimately want to own? Don't think of who do I want to work for. What do I want to own? What sort of business can I start? I've got a friend in Raleigh, for instance, who has a window washing business, and it's working so well, he's going to establish the business in another city. What is that about? It's about ownership. He's not focused on what he can get from somebody else. He's focused on what he can do, what he can build that he actually owns. Cultivate new skills and master technology. We've kind of covered this. Always keep those skills sharp. There's never an end to that, never an end. And last thing I want to mention, and this is not a light thing, embrace a healthy identity. Embrace a healthy identity. One of the things that is really important, and I say this as a black man, I walk a careful balance here, because I'm not the kind of person, and this is unusual, you know, in our society. I am not the kind of person who is my level of racial consciousness, we'll put it this way, is a little different than others. Let me tell you what I mean by that. I I live my life in a way that I focus on Martin Luther King's message about content of character versus color of skin. Content of character. And that's important to me. Now, one of the things I also do is I found that in the culture in which we live, there are a lot of opportunities. If you are a minority, there are people, frankly, who are clamoring for people like you. I want you to understand this. Now, is there racism out there? Yes. Part of my challenge and encouragement to you, though, is do not be preoccupied with that. Look for opportunity. Because I don't have any numbers on this, but I'll tell you this. Yes, are there racists? Is there racism out there? Absolutely. But are there a multitude of opportunities out there? Absolutely yes. And I choose to focus on the opportunity side. Do not buy into propaganda that would cause you to think of yourself as a victim. And I say this of anybody for any reason. People have bad circumstances. People have good circumstances. And it happens to all of us as human beings. I want to just encourage you. Rejoice in who you are as an individual. Be bold in who you are as an individual. Don't walk in insecurity. I hope that's helpful to you, because there are people that I think like to foment fear, and as a result, people find themselves living as if, well, there's no opportunity for me for this reason or that reason. Don't believe that. There are opportunities for everybody. And part of what you have to do is to seize it.